So we'll start with the peace chant. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may the all-pervading spirit protect us. May the all-pervading spirit nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be illuminating. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. So we are in Katha Upanishad, second chapter. One important topic that we have discussed over 3 classes is the concept of the good and the pleasant, the prayer and the shreya. And I sent in my previous email a synopsis of the discussion. Probably you have taken a look at it, a summary of the 3 class on shreya and prayer. Did you get a chance to look at it at all? Okay.
Yes.
Good. All right. And anything you have to add? Do you want to add anything? And you felt anything more, or afterwards did you realize anything new about the idea of shreya and prayer? Did you find anything new? All right. It does not have to have. What appeared to me is, the subtle level of the subtle aspect of the good and the pleasant, the shreya and prayer. Subtle aspect in the sense that sometimes we know some of the things we are holding on to, some of our behaviors or patterns or habits which are not helping us in the long run. We know, we are sure about it, but we don't want to change ourselves. That is an example of prayer and shreya. Prayer is, the pleasant, the comfortable things we are so got used to, some habits. Even if we know that these are the habits which are making life difficult for me or people around us, we are not ready to let go of those habits. So letting go of those habits requires challenging. It is painful because it's a habits of so many years, and for good reason. With these habits we developed at some period of our life, these habits helped us. Now they have outlasted their values, but we are still holding on to those habits, and changing them requires uncomfortable, really uncomfortable changing them, but changing them will be good in the long run. So that is, I believe, another example of when we give into the pleasant, the pleasurable things, the comfort of our old way of behaving, old way of thinking, even we know that changing them will be beneficial for us. And it is true for all of us, that we know some aspect of us will do good if we change, but we are unwilling to do that. That is also an example of shreya and prayer in mental level, especially those who meditated, those who are regular meditator. They have the capacity to even feel, they can see things that requires fixing, little bit of fixing in them. They can clearly see a pattern in them, the thought pattern, behavioral pattern, emotional pattern, which need to be changed. That is one. Uh, that is one side byproduct of meditation, that we come to know so much about ourselves, and we also see that we need to change them, but we are unwilling to take the next step of changing, which is not pleasant, which is uncomfortable. So we are giving in to pleasure. Prayer is pleasant in the short term, but harmful in the long term. So prayer does not have to be always sensual enjoyment or sensual indulgence. Our reluctance to change for better is also a prayer, is also a kind of pleasurable thing. Okay. That came to my mind later on. I thought of sharing with you. Now, show and peer idea is over, and I believe it will be never over, because this is something we have to always grapple with. Frankly speaking, the share and prayer is one of those ideas that repeatedly, play in my mind. And every time I come up with new insights about Shreya and prayer through modern scientific findings or behavior study or long-term longitudinal study of people, all it comes down to Shreya and prayer. I see clear pattern. All right, so for the time being, let's drop Shreya and prayer. Yes, Betty, go ahead.
Yes, would you please describe what conscientious people's behavior is, habits?
Yes, absolutely. So why it came, Shreya and prayer, apparently, it boils down to living a life of conscience, right? Conscientious people, if then we will all conscientious people, they try to um, always follow what will be, most of the time they try to follow what will be good in the long term. So instead of thinking Shreya and prayer as a moment to moment challenge, rather uh, we have to think much broadly that can we develop our conscientiousness muscle, our ethical muscle, can we develop that? That will help us to overcome this kind of dilemma, whether go for the good or go for the pleasure. And thus the solution was that it has been found, the personality trait called conscientiousness, which makes us more attuned to higher values, ethical values, long-term values, self-control. So the point was that how to be conscientious. They said that one way is teach children, kids from the very beginning why we should behave morally. Not only just give them the moral advice, but explain to them why we should do that, and also tell them what is no, what are their boundaries, all of this. Second method was to follow the what conscientious people do. What they do, conscientious people, they follow schedules. They appear on time. So in day to day life, they follow a routine, a schedule, and most importantly, they try to avoid a situation where they have to exert self control. Do you remember this? This is called self control paradox. People whom we think are having higher self control, actually, they don't use their self control much. Rather, they try to avoid uh, situations where they are in a dilemma to go for this or go for that. For example, you gave the example of attending to a party. If you know beforehand that this party may run longer past midnight, and that will but you need to wake up early in the morning. Then better don't stay beyond, say, 10 p.m. or 8 p.m., so that you never come to a point where you have to go for this dilemma. That is the example. Betty, did you get the answer?
Yes, it seems to me you've given kind of a psychological approach. And I'm wondering about our spiritual practices. And they take us there. And whether those are going to be detailed more as we advanced in this text.
Yeah, absolutely.
This isn't the text.
True. It is in the text. In fact, next few verses will really talk about those people who are consciences. Okay, what they do.
Okay.
What they do. Okay. What I recapped was what Scientific American say. Okay. I blend them. So for me, both are so valuable, the Upanishad and Scientific American. So
it seems, I don't know exactly how to express this, but to just avoid temptation.
It is one of the strategies.
Seems like it's less virtuous than if you're in a situation and you're not, it doesn't, that you're not tempted even though you're in a situation.
Yeah, true. I mean, if we know we'll be tempted, rather avoid it. Why go for this? Why test your self-control muscle? That is the point.
It involves discrimination that it may not be that satisfying for us anyway. So that's why we don't go also, maybe. Because we recognize that situation has nothing to give us.
Yeah, more is not that important. This is more important. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Maharaj. Yes. I exercise my Shreyas and breaking from the party and coming in the car and doing this. But the question I wanted to ask was, it all boils down to willpower, and always we struggle with how to strengthen the willpower. Do you have any tips on how do one do that?
Absolutely. That is why I mentioned that we think self-control boils down to willpower, but willpower is not very powerful. Because Jonathan Haidt, the psychologist from in New York University, he wrote a book, Stumbling on Happiness. No, the Happiness Hypothesis. Here, he took up the wisdom of all the world religions about happiness. What Bhagavad Gita says about happiness, what Upanishad says, what Bible says, what Buddhism says, and take up those ideas, and he analyzes them in the light of modern findings. At the end of the book, he says that the attraction, the allurement of enjoyment is like an elephant, and you are our willpower is just like the mahut, the controller of the elephant. Okay, at many times the elephant can be controlled by a mahut, but if the elephant is too much into something, then no matter how much the elephant rider tries to control, they cannot. Okay, it overrides our willpower. So that's why they say willpower is not the only thing. One thing is making a lifestyle which is in favor of discipline. Okay, in favor of discipline. And instead of thinking about, well, let the situation come, I will flex my willpower. Instead, live a lifestyle where we don't have to so much give into temptations and all. Secondly, they found that the another way of increasing our self-control is to think about our future self. That if we lead such a disciplined life and controlled life, what the future will look like. The more we can keep our better version on the horizon, and more we can imagine and make it more real to our eyes, the ideal I, the better version of I, the easier it becomes to exert our self-control or willpower. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes. All right. All right. Now, what Yama will do after saying Shreya and prayer, he will praise Naciketa. The previous two verses were the praise of the people who, in general, has more Shreya oriented life, the disciplined life, good life. Now, he will say a few things about Naciketa, which is for us too as an ideal, as an ideal spiritual seeker, what would be our qualities like? And that is what Yama is praising in Naciketa. So that is, Naciketa has that power, and so we should strive for that. That is our lesson from these verses. Okay, let's go to verse number 2.3. Okay. Tvam priyān priyarūpān cha kāmān abhidhyāyan naciketaḥ atyasrākṣīḥ na etām sṛṅkām vitta-mayīm avāptaḥ yasyām majjanti bahavaḥ manuṣyāḥ. You, O Naciketa, reflecting on desirable and delightful pleasures, have firmly renounced them. You have not fallen into the chain of wealth in which many human beings drown. So, if some important points are here, ideas are here for us to discuss and learn. Yes. So his Yama says, you have not fallen into the chain of wealth in which many human beings drown. So that is, I don't know how do you translate it into English. In Bengali, there is a saying called the dilemma of 99. Dilemma of 99. That is, when you have 99 rupees or $99, you will be thinking, let me make it 100. Okay. Let me wait for making it 100. So that striving, that craving never goes. Okay. So but you have, no matter how much wealth people have, they still want more. And ultra rich people are glaring examples of that a few $100 billion are not enough for them. They are striving for more and more. And so Yama says that many people drown into this pursuit of wealth. Many people in this world drown in the pursuit of wealth. It's a trap. That's why that let me have some more, have the piece of more money into my bank or my portfolio or my investment portfolio. But it also does not mean that the diametrically opposite view that wealth is not necessary at all is true. The wealth is not necessary at all. That is not also true. But wealth, unlimited pursuit of wealth has no end point. So but basically what it means is we need to understand the limits of every pursuit. whether it is dharma, whether it is entertainment or wealth, all have their limitations. But Naciketa, you did not. You did not fall for all the allurements for being a king and a lot of cattle. Cattle means currency. Currency of that time was cattle. A lot of currency and kingdom and whatnot, everything. You did not fall for all of this. So that's congratulations for that, because many grown-up people fall into that trap, and you are still a 10-year-old boy, but you did not fall into that trap. So that's praiseworthy. Now, Upanishad says two word, priyān and priyarūpān. Priyān, priyarūpān. What is the verse? You have given up, Naciketa, the priyān, the pleasurables, and priyarūpān, which looks like pleasures. Two things very interesting. Not only pleasures, but looks like pleasures. So important distinction between them. So priyān, pleasant, means things that actually give us sensory enjoyment. Tangible pleasures, immediate pleasures, like a delicious slice of cake. It gives us joy. But deceptive are those which are pleasant looking. Things that look like that they will make us happy, but often they turn out not to be so such attractive. Not the experience does not so. So it is just like nowadays we all can see that products are marketed on YouTube and other social media, very cheap and substandard products, but they are marketed in such a way many people fall for them. They feel that it will be a wonderful product. So it's a nice wrapper and so many other alluding testaments to the product. But when we get them, we find not at all. They are not up to the mark at all. So they are priyarūpān, look like they will give us joy. Similarly, many things if we reflect, we will find that many of the things sometimes we pursue, we know in our heart of heart, these things won't make us happy. Okay, we really don't need them, but others are doing, others are pursuing, and as if we also have to. Like it feels glamorous to have name, it feels glamorous to have fame, but ask those people who have famous whether they're really liking it. You will find that fame, name, all of these does not give is not pleasure. Looks like they will give us pleasure, but they are not. Because take the example of famous people. Their privacy is at stake. They cannot go out publicly. They have to, if they want to go shopping, they have to go to a different country where they may not be recognized at all. Unlike us, who can walk freely in the streets, go to any store, any shopping mall. The more famous you become, the more difficult it will be for you to walk freely. Okay. So the name and fame, they look like so glamorous thing to have, but actually are they enjoyable? Even if little bit of name and fame, if we have got, we'll find that it was not that enjoyable as we had thought about it. So Yama is giving a hint to these two types of joys. Both are priya, both are pleasurable, but one is, say, real pleasure and pain will come later. Other is no way pleasure giving, only looked like pleasure. Okay. And Naciketa, both of them were offered. Priyān, like real wealth, real cattle, was offered. Then real dancers were offered, music were offered, all of these real thing. But priyarūpān, pleasant looking things, a kingdom of a vast area, power, no, power over a vast number of people. These are not really, really satisfying. If that would have been, every politician would have been so happy people. But they find out that these powers are actually not so satisfactory. They look like they will give us joy, but they won't. So what Naciketa did, what is the credit of Naciketa? Naciketa, um, Naciketa did not go for any of this, and oh, oh, and what he did, avidyāyan, Naciketa thought through them. Okay, thought both through them, that Naciketa rejected the pleasing and attractive sense objects that were offered as gifts, but he did this after careful consideration. Abhidhyāyan, avidyāyan, not just, I don't need them, or I need them, I want them, but I am suppressing my desire. Not in that way. Naciketa very deliberately, after thinking through, he said that, well, these are good things. These are not something to be rejected from the very beginning. But right now, more important for me is having the knowledge of my true nature. Okay. So if there is a deliberation involved, viveka, the discernment is involved. That is what is needed of us. That okay, we can renounce easily, $1 trillion. I don't need $1 trillion. But first of all, I don't have the means to have $1 trillion. That kind of renouncement is not what is being praised. Deliberate, whether I really need it right now or not. And secondly, not only deliberation, after deliberating, he gave up all those temptations. He did not fall for. That is also important. Sometimes we deliberately, we discern well, but the next step, doing it, we don't do. Like I do many a times. For example, after waking up at say 5 in the morning, 5:30, I know it will be wonderful if I just now go for a walk and sit for meditation. I will have longer period for meditation. But sometimes I feel, yes, I know, but I want to lie down for 15 minutes more. Okay. So discernment was correct. Discernment, viveka was correct. That is better. But I did not do. But Naciketa not only discerned avidyāyan, but atyasrākṣīḥ. He did the right thing. What we started with, that sometimes we know what we need to change in ourselves, but we don't take the next step. Naciketa did. That's why Yama is praising him. You gave up. So, as a reflection for all of us, we can do, it's a periodical reflection, monthly or weekly. We can pause and ask that, am I owning my wealth, or is my wealth owning me? Am I taking wealth as a means or as a goal? Then also we can reflect upon what is need and what is greed. Do I want this because it is necessary, or because it is shiny? It appears good. And also reflecting on, as I say, what is good enough for us? What is the enough. We have to find what is enough. What is enough for us? So remaining satisfied with that. And Naciketa has all of these qualities. So Yama is praising him. Okay. Any question?
No.
The most important ideas of these verses are that distinguishing pleasant and pleasant looking. Okay, that also you have to think about. Second important point was our giving up should be backed by our discernment. Okay, it's not suppression, but a informed choice. Why we are doing, why we are giving up a few pleasant things for the sake of our spiritual unfoldment, for our spiritual journey. This is important. All right.
It seems like constant feedback and reflection is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Constant reflection is indeed needed. There's no doubt about that. No doubt. All right. So let's move on to the next verse. Next verse is, has any one of you seen the next verse? What's the next verse? Oh, okay. Next verse, yes, is a really new verse. So, okay. Why I said so? Because the next to next verse, verse number 2.5, is not a new verse. We read it somewhere else. Okay. Absolutely, word by word, we had already encountered that verse. Okay, 2.4, next verse. Now, Yama says that the distinction between what leads to what. Dūram ete viparīte viṣūcī. Avidyā ca vidyā iti jñātā. Vidyā-abhipsinaṃ naciketasam manye na tvam kāmā bahavaḥ alolupanta. Far apart and leading in opposite directions are ignorance and knowledge. So it is known. I consider you, O Naciketa, to be a true seeker of knowledge. For even numerous pleasures did not tempt you. So, and this is fine. Dūram ete viparīte viṣūcī. So, both are wide apart. So here, Yama introduces the concepts of vidyā and avidyā. Vidyā and avidyā are used very frequently in Upanishads and other scriptures. And the meanings also vary from context to context. Here, vidya means a spiritual intelligence, and avidya means spiritual dullness, being blind to spiritual aspect of our life. Okay, so Yama says that they are far apart. Vidya, spiritual intelligence, which is reinforced by Shreya, life of Shreya. Life of Shreya takes us to spiritual intelligence. And prayer, life of prayer, leads us to a materialistic outlook, a spiritual dullness. Isha Upanishad, if you remember, it was said, Asurya namate lokan andheno tamasa britaha. tamste pretta avigachanti ye ke chatmo hanujana. Those who are blind to their spiritual nature, their higher nature, they are as if living in a very dark world, tamasa, asurya, which is not a very nice world in materialistic outlook, and forgetting our spiritual nature altogether. It is like a dark place to live on. So far apart and leading in opposite direction. Vidya, a life of spiritual intelligence, leads to what? A life of Shreya, a life of spiritual unfoldment, finally leads to peace, fulfillment, contentment, and life of prayer, life of avidyā, a spiritual dullness. What is the result? Excitement, exciting life, then boredom, then discontent, then meaninglessness. All of these are the result of a materialistic outlook. So they are they differ. The life of Shreya and life of prayer, life of the good and life of only pleasures have different outcomes and different by a wide margin. Peace and here discontent. Here is life of meaning, life of meaninglessness, hollow life. A life of balance and calm, a balanced life, and the other life is a roller coaster, excitement today, boredom tomorrow. All of this. So Yama says, what leads to what? They are wide apart in their scope. So, but Naciketa is different. He could not be allured by prayer. All those pleasant things were offered to him, but he could not be distracted from his curiosity. He is questioning the goal of spiritual life or our true nature. That's why he says, I manye, I think, I believe you are fit for vidya, a life of spiritual unfoldment, spiritual intelligence, because even a lot of temptations could not distract you. So that is the reason of praising Naciketa, that life of vidya or life of Shreya leads to one type of goal, peace, contentment, fulfillment, whereas life of indulgence leads to excitement, boredom, discontentment, all of these. And Naciketa, to qualify for the life of spiritual unfoldment, you have shown that you have qualified, you are fit for that. Why? Because you could give up the immediate joys, immediate pleasures that I offered you, which were tangible, but you gave up all of this for something which is intangible. What is that? Intangible thing is there anything beyond what we can see? Is there anything beyond what is under the grasp of our senses? Is there anything? And you gave up all these your given or graspable joys and pleasures which were very much in front of you for something which is subtle and unseen. This is the price of spiritual life. We have to pay all the time. Right now, we can meditate, and right now, I can find meditation boring and watch Netflix whole evening. Okay. So it requires always some belief or conviction.
Shraddha?
Yes, on the goodness of things which are not immediately graspable, but it unfolds over time. our time. Like everyday meditation is not enjoyable. Much more enjoyable would be to engage into some video game or some thriller movie or binge worthy series. That will be much more enjoyable. But meditation, even if it is not enjoyable every day, if we do over the time, it will change us. It will transform us. It will make us a better person in all respect. Not only that, I'm just touching upon it. Now they are finding out, even the universities, that the benefits of meditation goes beyond individual life. It has a social ripple effect. Social ripple effect. So the scientists are telling that more and more people should start meditating. If we want to change the society, more and more people should meditate, because meditation makes a person more compassionate, more empathetic to hear people from whom we consider out group and in group. These distinctions are increasing day by day. We are becoming more and more polarized. So we need the compassion and empathy to hear each other, even if we may not agree to each other. The capacity to hear each other is, they found out, those who meditate even for a few days had no prior habit of meditating, but if they meditated 10 minutes a day, after 2 weeks, they found that these people are showing all the signs of compassion and empathy, and they can handle their emotions better. They can interact with challenging situations better. They are better in interpersonal relationship. So one person's meditation affect others. And they demonstrated it very well in lab settings as well as real life settings. Okay. So the point was that meditation and things like that, this requires a challenging. These are challenging to maintain this practice. They are not always pleasant, but if we can do that, it will ultimately do good for us. And that is what all spiritual life is about. And that's why actually Yama tested Naciketa. That Naciketa, are you really fit for this life? Fit for this life. And frankly speaking, although this idea of spiritual fitness, which is in Sanskrit called adhikari means, do you remember? Aparakṣanubhuti, all. Adhikari means who will benefit most from the Vedanta, the any study, Aparakṣanubhuti or Vivekachudamani, whatever. In the very beginning, adhikari. And adhikari, who is spiritually fit? Those who have some qualities. And you will find these qualities, one of them is the daily habit of meditating. Yeah. So, for example, nowadays, these have become very open. Upanishad is always available, everywhere available. So, we don't need any fitness test to read the Upanishad. But earlier, the teacher used to test whether one was ready for the teaching or not. And the downside of that was it also became a weapon to deny legitimate people from studying it. It became exclusive. Some people's they made it exclusive, and by making exclusive, they became powerful in the society. Okay, that is the downside of adhikari. But making it open to all also has a flip side. The flip side is people are now, what is happening all around, people are really confused about what is non-dual Vedanta, because all they are doing is in the conceptual level, in the conceptual framework. So they are learning concepts after concepts after concepts, and non-dual Vedanta is not concepts. It is based on experience. Concepts are only the map, and no map is actual representation of the reality. And since most of us don't even have ever experienced non-dual state, so we keep on asking question after question, hypothetical question, where confusions never end, because we have not tested, we have not had a glimpse of the reality. So that's why Naciketa was tested by Yama, that are you ready for such a spiritual unfoldment where you have to go from the gross, the given, the palpable, tangible world to a world of unknown, to a world which is subtle, to a world which you cannot immediately now, right now, can rely upon, but with practice, it becomes clear and clear again. So that was the threshold for that. And that's why, as we discussed, that's why a life of Shreya is conducive for spiritual unfoldment. I am wallowing in wealth. I am indulging it sensual pleasure. At the same time, I want to understand non-dual Vedanta. Impossible. This is quite impossible things to do. After having some non-dual experience, we can then go back to all of these and will not be affected by that. But that also a risky thing, because a glimpse and experience one or twice is just the beginning of the life. We have to make it our permanent things. So wallowing in wealth and wallowing in pleasure and sensual enjoyment, and at the same time watching non-dual Vedanta on YouTube. Can we understand non-dual Vedanta? The result is confusions, questions, because all in the level of concepts. So that's why Yama tested Naciketa and whether he is ready for such a life. That is the important point of this verse, that Naciketa was fit for spiritual intelligence or the spiritual journey, because he chose the good, the Shreya, which is a precondition for spiritual unfoldment. Okay, I saw raised hand. Who raised hand? Please go ahead. Preeti ji, did you raise hand, Preeti?
Yes, Maharaj. Pardon me. I'm not well, but so I'm not sure if my voice is okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
You are a voice without form.
Yeah. Yes. Sure. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Maharaj. I will not turn I have a mask on and things like that. So I'll just.
No problem. Go ahead. Yeah. Ask the question.
Okay. So I received a long time ago from another devotee. I received a small little, I don't know how they have like those acrylic things where it have a picture of maybe Thakur or, and this one had a picture of Swami Vivekananda, and it said, "Learn obedience first." And it has always intrigued me because it can be taken in so many ways. But it was then eventually I found the source of that. I think it was given and part of it was a part of an address to the monks and the sadhus at Begumat. But I'm just wondering, since that has kind of trickled to a person like me, how can the importance of that in this context, what we are talking about in terms of willpower and the choice between shreyas and prayas, and where does that fit in?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Where does obedience fits in?
Yeah. Can we apply that, and what a role it plays for us, in
Yeah, yeah.
overcoming some of this difficulty?
Yes, yes. You have struck a very important point. In our monasteries, there is a saying that if we follow the rules of the monastery, we are unknowingly following Shamaya and Dhamma. The life of Shreya. If we follow the rules of the monastery. So what I find that in the beginning we have many questions, because this thing what Swami Vivekananda said to the novices at the Belur Math, about the life of a monastic sannyasa. The title of the talk was Sannyasa, its ideal and practice. He is extempore talk, and he was leaving for second time. He was leaving for the West. He was coming to United States and other places. And before leaving from Belur Math, a group of novices and monks gathered around him and asked him to speak something about monastic life. And there he said, be an obedient like a dog and be free like a wind. So these paradoxes of monastic life. So what it means is, by nature, monastics want to be free. They don't want to be burdened by rules and regulations. They became sannyasi to become free, exercise their freedom. But to understand how much freedom we can, um, exercise, first we have to follow some rules, right? You have to know the rules of a game before you can break it. Before you can break it. So what he meant is, if we start be obedient, especially in the monastic community, then afterwards we'll gain the freedom to understand what we can even look beyond, even going beyond the rules. But before that, the rules have to be part of our life. Then only we can transcend them. Does it make sense to you, Pritiji?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Please correct me. What I understood in this context for Shreyas and Prayas is that some amount of without this ethical life, we cannot even go beyond either. Like this without Shreyas, it's impossible to go to Nishreyas.
True. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I just got reminded, I'm sorry, I'll just share this very quickly. I read this very recently in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. This is on page 739. And even later pages, he talks about the mind being free from lust and greed. And he says that when you're free from that, then nothing else can obstruct a person. Then it's just the bliss of Brahman. So to me, it seems that Naciketa is already there. He has all the, he's free from both.
Yeah. To some extent, because if we take it literally, so he was 10-year-old. Okay, so some of the pleasures really he had no idea about. Frankly speaking, he had never experienced some of the things which was offered to him. But at the same time, even if he has not experienced them, he could make out that these are lesser important than the quest I am into. True. So, Naciketa, surely. And that is the lesson for all of us, that it is not possible for all of us to experience all the things in the world. That everything we'll experience, then we shall, give up. We'll see its flip side and good side. It is not possible. We have to also get the wisdom from people who have walked the path before us. And what Sri Ramakrishna says, completely free from lust and greed, It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. That is only possible param drishtva. Only when we have, we are established in our true nature, the open consciousness, the non-conceptual subject only, pure awareness. That when we are establishing that mode of living, then all of these become, we don't have to give up. They falls off from our, orbit. We don't have to exert any power to give up. It is almost like when we go to the 10th floor or 10th level of a house, we have already transcended the first, second, third, fourth already. We don't have to categorically say that, well, I have given up seventh, I have given up eighth. Once we have that kind of living where Sri Ramakrishna was, then lust and greed falls off automatically. Yeah. Mrs. Mukherjee, you want to ask something? Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj, as in this discussion, I was remembering Thakur said that live in the world like a maid servant in rich man's house. Like if you have, but out of clinging and craving and dependence on that, it should be the rule. But is it possible to do that all the time?
Yes, it is
in a
possible.
physical world?
It is possible. For that, again comes the power of meditation. Again comes the power of meditation. What is happening is actually this, things are, this is very simple. Thing is, we have some ideas about ourselves, about the world, and which we think very rigidly that these are very real things for us. But those ideas, those identities are not that strong, not that real we are thinking, not that solid. They are very fluid things. And meditation shows us that all of these, which we are taking it to be too seriously, so seriously, and too rigidly, we see all of these ideas and thoughts and emotions, our anxieties, our fear, our trying to control whole world, our environment, all of these are products of our mind. Products of our mind. They are not reality in themselves. And what happens in meditation, we can see all of these floating in the larger space of our being. Okay. And when we see them floating, we can see that they are not that solid things. We can change them even when they are floating. So many of our ideas about, for example, every time we worry about future, we ultimately find our worry, our anxiety was meaningless. It did not need it to be. But when we're worrying about future, when we're anxious about our future, it appears to us that that is the reality going to happen for sure. If I don't think through all of these problems happen for sure. But when we meditate, we see that these are patterns of our mind. These are patterns of our mind. So what happens is, when we are living in this world, the relationships, the identities, without identities, without roles, there is nothing called world. World is our identities and our roles. And these identities and these roles, we think very rigidly that they are solid things, that these are real things. And when Sri Ramakrishna says, live in the world like a housemaid lives in the house owner's house, that is, she is there, but she knows that none of these actually are mine. This house, I am for the time being, I am working here. So she has a sense of detachment in that house. Although she is performing all of her jobs, but she also has a space, a spacious, way of looking at it. Not very rigidly and not, bound in that space, but rather in a more spacious way, she is relating to whole world. So when you asked, is it possible to live in the world in that a way, in such a way? I will be here, but the world will not be in me. Only thing is, yes, that is also possible. We have to reflect our connection with the world, our role in the world, our identity in the world, our ideologies, even our religion, our spiritual inclinations. All of these are products of our mind. They are helpful because without these identities, without these ideologies, without these thoughts, we cannot relate, function in the world. But at the same time, none of them are written on stones. None of them are written on stones. This is what it means to live in the world at the same time, not being in the world. That, well, for my living, I need money. For that, I have to work. For that, I have a role. But that role should not define me. And incidentally, you are into this family. You are married to that person. You have these children. But that does not have to be your definition. That is not your whole identity. These are all incidental things. These are all conditioned things. These are what condition our mind. But there is also an unconditional state where I am beyond all of this. I am the reality itself, the open awareness, a transparent awareness, a spaciousness where there is only subject, no object. Awareness in its purest form. That is also possible. So if we can experience through good meditation, once in a while it happens that when all the conditions are fine, the reality from deep within gives a glimpse, shows a glimpse to us. And then we become sure that there is another way of living, another mode of living where I'm not related to anybody. I have no identity. I'm just pure I without any identity, without any concept, without any object. I am not even subject, just pure awareness. So I am out of mind stream. This is what yoga says, tadaha drashtuhu sarupe avasthanam. Then we are existing in our true nature, non-dual nature. There is no object to be a duality. Nothing to be known. Knowing means duality. Subject is knowing the object. But this is possible. Otherwise, what happens? Vritti sarupam iti atraha. Other times, we are taking us as the thoughts that are coming in our mind. This moment, the thought comes, I am a monk, I am giving a class, it has to be praised, it has to be things. So I am identifying with all of this. Okay. And you are identifying as this or that or all of this. I am drashtuhu, not sarupya avasthanam, but vritti sarupam. Vritti means not only thoughts, vritti means also emotions. Right now, good emotions come and I identify myself with that emotion. Then everything is looking good. Suddenly, the climate changes. It is overcast. Mood is down. In that overcast mood, everything looks bad. And I am identifying with my mood for the time being. The sunny I become the overcast I. Okay. Is it real I? How can it be? If I am a real I, how I was sunny in this morning and became overcast in the evening? These are all concepts of mind. These are concepts to function in the world, but they should not define us. This is what Sri Ramakrishna meant when he said that live in the family, live in the society, but don't define yourself by your role in the society, your relationship. You are all of this, and you are also beyond all of this. Okay, it is possible. It is possible.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. I see another raised hand. Yeah.
Yeah, Maharaj Pranam.
Yes.
I mean, just reinforcing what you've said. So, Shreya certainly is the sense of goodness that, helps you to find the path out of this materialistic world or worldly pleasures, whatever, as we've all discussed so far. But this is also based on a kind of internal wisdom, or the vidyā, as we say. So this takes some time, and it's not so simple. Of course, we've discussed and you've talked about so many tools, and each of us is making efforts in our own way. But this attaining that internal vidyā, I mean, it takes time. It might take an entire lifetime, or so if you can. I know that we don't have an answer for it, but
life of Shreya cannot be done overnight.
Right.
It is not something I can give it to you right in a class.
Correct.
No, it's a lifelong striving.
Correct.
In fact, the striving itself is important. Striving it's not that, no, I have lived the life of Shreya, it's over.
Right.
It's not over. It's never an over thing. It's a striving, So what is striving has to be strived for. There is no one shortcut answer. How can we live a life of Shreya? In fact, all of us know what is life of Shreya. From the age of 10, 12, we know what is good and what is not good. It is all about doing and not doing, right? Yeah. So conceptual level, we are clear about it. It is all about doing. Yeah, true. So how to exercise self-control, how to live a life of Shreya, these are all about doing. So too much of hypothesizing would not help us, would not help us. Yeah. All right. With this, we end then today's class. I could not take up more. All right. So next Friday, we cannot have the class. We shall have 2 guest Swamis with us. But the next we shall meet, right? All right. So let's say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, 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 peace. All right.